Lawwin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawwin Media Network.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to, I can't believe it, it's the final episode of season 1 for Beyond Health and Wellness with the one and only Dr. Rich. Dr. Rich, how are you? I am so
Good,
glad to be
good
part of
evening.
the show
Yeah,
again. You've been doing
me,
so
me
good.
too. Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, Nurse MJ. MJ. Yes, I can't believe we are in the 13th episode, which is our last episode for this season,
Yes.
and we've gone through so many, and I can't believe this is we are here, and it's been a great journey. So it's great. It's beyond health and wellness. This is empowering conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ, and we are here live at,
Okay,
where
you're
are we
watching
live,
us
MJ?
live, yes, on Facebook, YouTube, stream.lawin.live, and twitch.tv. And I can't believe it. I know I have been out of sight for a little bit because there are things that I have to attend to. I was under the weather on one episode, and I really appreciate you, Dr. Rich, for just allowing me to be off the show, and you've been pretty much doing the show solo, and you've been really sharing a lot of great contents to all our viewers. So tonight is going to be another wonderful episode as we recap, right? We're going to recap all the
Yes,
topics. Yeah. Yeah.
we are going to wrap up whatever it is that we had, our takeaways from episode 1 up to episode 12. So there are 12 episodes that we put back to back and get some insights and probably some enlightenments. And it's really because you are there, MJ, and also our viewers are very supportive of us, asking questions, giving us some appreciation of what we do. And that's why we exist in this platform, because we want to share and make sure that we have something to talk about that people can take away with and learn from. And so here we are on our 13th episode, the last episode before we close and begin season 2
Mhm.
a couple of weeks after, correct?
Yes, we'll take a break, or we'll take a short break only. And I think when we come back after a couple of weeks, or when Dr. Rich comes back, it's going to be a little bit different. And I'm very sure
It
that
will.
Dr. Rich will have a lot of information that he's going to share you more. He's got this wealth of knowledge. He's got these skills and all that he's been very, very willing to share to every single one of you. So I really appreciate him for taking on this show. I know, like, months ago we were just talking about it, or we've talked about it multiple times until it came to fruition, and here he
Yeah.
is. Yeah, the one and only Dr. Rich is on the show. So to all our viewers in the Philippines, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And to all our viewers here in the United States of America and all over the world, good evening to every one of you. So I know, Dr. Rich, we are going to recap or wrap up all the topics. And I'm so
Yes.
excited from the very first episode. Yeah, what were we talking
MJ,
about
can you
then?
still remember what we did talk when we opened this podcast?
Yes, we talked
Can
about,
you recall?
I think the most memorable for me that we talked about in our first episode was all the dopamine, I mean the hormones, right?
Yes,
Yeah, our
the feel good hormones.
yes.
And that's how we are going to close tonight as well. We're going to step into the first place where we began and know that place for the first time. I like T.S. Eliot putting it correctly, because that is, I think that is the stage in my career and my life as well, to go back to the first place where you started and know that place for the first time. And here we are, talking about dopamine, because this is the first topic that we opened up. And dopamine is a feel good hormone, and people will follow you, people will listen to you, and people will do the things that they want to do. And what makes them do that is because of the level of dopamine that is increased in their body. So that's what it is, the feel good hormone. But it's not just dopamine. What are the other
Yeah.
hormones? Could
Yeah.
you recall?
Well, before that, Dr. Rich, I want to piggyback of what you said. It's always going back to
Okay.
the basics, right? Because all these hormones
Yes.
are
Yes.
the building blocks of our system. And whenever we learn things, there's always this saying, go back to the basics. Because the basics
Yes.
are our foundation, right? We start from the basics, we build up on our knowledges and skills and everything, but there's always that saying, go back to the basics. Because if we forget the basics, we don't know which direction we go to, right? So I think that really applies so well in our topic tonight, that we always have to go back to the basics. So our building blocks, like our good hormones and bad hormones, whatever, or stress hormones, we have other hormones like you said, the dopamine. What's so amazing for me is like ever since we had that initial episode, I always like whenever I feel good, oh my dopamine. So it's like, whatever we're teaching in the audience, I think what's
Yes.
most important
Yes.
is they actually can relate and they can apply. And other
Yes.
hormones that we can think of are like serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins. I mean, there's so many things, and it's so funny because now everybody knows what dopamine is because of that topic, right?
Yes. Yes. And really what that means is sometimes they confuse, okay, dopamine, dopamine. We're talking about dopamine. What do we do in order to increase the release of that hormone in my body? Because it's in your body, right? It's not from outside.
Mhm,
Although there are medical grade dopamines that are ingested to our patients in the hospital so that they will feel better, right?
mhm,
And that's basically sugar. And we're going to talk about that later on. But really what it is, and in order for us to utilize this hormone for the best advantage for our health and for our physiological happiness,
mhm,
is to listen to music is one,
mhm,
right? And I always emphasize whenever I go travel and I start to speak to people, and that's what I do. And so I go in there and I remember that, and what I remember from that is when I step into the platform and begin talking to them, I make up stories. I share them stories of my personal experiences, or stories that I've heard, or stories that will just give them some kind of attention,
mhm,
so that they pay attention to me. And what that really means is that I'm building up dopamine in my audience in the way of suspending their thrill,
mhm,
their sense
mhm.
of anticipation.
Yes.
That's what you have. You want a reward, right? When you, what I'll do this because I'll have a bonus, or I'll do this because my boss will be happy, or my parents will be happy. You do that, you're actually increasing the level of your dopamine. And when you are using that for people, and I suggest that we all do that, suspend them, give them that thrill. Don't just tell them, I have $1 million today. Well, that's not interesting, right? You want what? How do you do that? You say, guess what I have today.
Mhm,
See that? There's a sense of anticipation, and the other person would like to pay attention to you, because what do you have?
mhm,
What do you have?
mhm.
And so I have something, like, you need to guess what it is. And then they start guessing. That's the time when your level of dopamine is increased. You like that interaction, and people will like you too. So that's really what it is when we start talking about that.
Yeah, you trigger the excitement, right?
Yeah,
Triggering the
yes.
excitement.
The gift,
Yes.
what's in it for me?
Mm-hmm. With stories, because
Mhm.
I know that stories
Yeah,
are powerful. And without
it is.
stories, I mean, we cannot really, it's flat. Whenever you are presenting and whenever we even speak in front of people, there's really not that connection. You have to have a connection first. And that's why we tell stories, and then you get into their feelings and their thoughts, and then now their minds and creativity are starting to work while you are talking, and they start feeling that connection with you. And once you have that, then you are more impactful. Whatever you're sharing them, actually they are more receptive now because of that
Yes.
connection that was
Oh,
built.
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is a rapport,
Mm-hmm.
is the connection, is the captivating ingredient
Mm-hmm.
when you speak to people. Even if you're just speaking one on one, you want to be able to increase that level. Right now, MJ, you're the only one live here, and all the rest are out there listening to us. We're not interacting to them, but I'm interacting with you
Mm-hmm.
directly, and you're interacting with me directly. And one of the things that will make our interaction interesting and exciting to the point that I respond to you and you respond to me is number one, I ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
When I ask question, you will answer me. That is a dopamine interacting kind of dynamics, and that's what raised the level of attention. So it's very important. But really, there are other hormones also. Let's recall one of them right quick.
Yeah, I think we mentioned serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, right? And these are all like feel
Yes,
good hormones.
they
And
are all
yeah,
feel good.
yeah.
Yes.
And then we also have
Now,
some not
let's
so good. And what are those?
yes.
What are the not so good
Hang on.
hormones?
Let's go over them one by one because I know that it's been since episode one we
Mhm,
talked about this, although we kind of talk about the but in passing. So let's go over that. We have the dopamine, the feel good hormone, the hormone of reward and anticipation, and we have the serotonin, which is a feel good hormone when we move. You want to be able to move when you dance, when you go out
mhm,
into the sun, when you go here and go there, just feel moving.
mhm,
That's the serotonin you're trying to increase, and you feel good when you're moving.
mhm.
And I ran marathons, so I should know, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one is, of course, we have this oxytocin.
Mhm,
Oxytocin, let me just put it this way, oxytocin is the hormone that you induce when you, let's say, pet a pet. Your
mhm,
dog, you pet your
mhm,
dog. That is oxytocin. You hug somebody,
mhm.
you sympathize with somebody, you listen to somebody talk about their lives, experiences, whatever. You increase your level of
Oxytocin.
oxytocin, which makes you feel good. And the other one also makes them feel good because they feel like they've been listened to.
Mhm.
So that's oxytocin, it's the human connection. And the other one is endorphins. It's very
Yeah.
simple for endorphin, make them laugh, just laugh. And sometimes we talk about, well, it's very difficult to laugh, there's nothing to laugh about. Well, practice laughing, go in front of the mirror and just laugh.
Yeah.
Because the brain doesn't identify whether it's true reality or made up.
Mhm.
It always reacts the same way. So you just form or make up a laugh, and then your endorphins
Are
are up.
triggered.
So it's
Yeah.
manipulable. We can use it. We trigger it, but it's right there. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes we fail to use it. And so it's very important for us to understand how this works and how we can make it work for us.
Yes. What about the bad hormones like cortisol or adrenaline?
Well,
How does the body affect, or
I
how do these hormones
I
affect
call
our
that
body?
I call that the devil's cocktail,
Okay.
right? In our work environment today is
Oh
very
yeah.
stressful.
Stressful.
So stressful means cortisol.
Yes.
High levels of cortisol are in the workplace.
Mhm.
Unless you work in a yoga company where all you do is do yoga, there is even stress level there. Once the newcomers are coming in, it increases the level of stress hormones there, which is your cortisol.
Mhm.
So it's very high. You don't need to add to it. There is no need for you to induce it or trigger it, because it's already triggered every single day, every time.
Mhm.
There's cortisol. So what we want is to remove it or reduce it.
Yes.
Okay, it's just difficult to remove it completely. So what we want to just reduce it. And in order to reduce it, you don't take out that hormone away from you, because then that's taking out their body. You want to reduce it by increasing the
Good
level of the
hormone.
feel good hormones.
Yes.
Yes. You don't remove it, but you increase the other side. So you really want to match that so that it dies out, because you eventually you don't pay attention to it, because it's a hormone, right? It rises up with level of what's environment. It's triggered by the environment and the things that you do, and it decreases when you don't pay attention to that anymore. And that's cortisol and adrenaline. That's really pretty much what I can say about the what do you call this, the devil's cocktail.
Yeah, and I know Dr. Rich, and that is the reason why women, because it's more
Yes.
common for us, right? I know there's menopausal men, as you have mentioned before, but women
Hmm.
experience more symptoms with menopause because of that
Yeah.
hormonal imbalance in our body.
Balance.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So I think women need a lot of help. Women need more help.
And then they need to go to professional
Hmm.
practitioners for that, right? And what it does really is then you have to have all those kinds of medical grade interventions, because you are not able to control it.
Hmm.
Whereas, but your doctor will cannot control it for you. You're the only one who can control it if you know how.
Hmm.
But the doctor will only tell you this, this, and this, and this, but I cannot do it for you. So that in order to do that, you take this. So you will be prescribed with all kinds of medication to take this, and hopefully that helps you. And some people, that's or more people can be helped with that. But that doesn't mean that's completely the only way, and that's the only way, and that's the most effective way. The effective way is really our body. And that's why we move on to different kinds of episode to talk about this strings of effects of the hormones that are in operation in our body on a regular
Yeah,
basis.
although there are a lot of like really simple and practical ways to actually keep our good hormones up. Like what you have mentioned, Dr. Rich, you listen to music. And then if we practice like gratitude, if we exercise,
Yes,
exercise, those are
yes,
important things. And then deep
yes.
breathing exercises as well. And
Mm,
then you can be
meditation.
intentional, yeah, intentional, about your day, and just make your mindset to have a positive
Yes,
day. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can actually trigger and keep the
yes,
the level of our good hormones to overpower the negative hormones, right? So
yes.
that's what we're
Hmm.
here for, because we offer like practical ways. And of course, if you're
Right.
having more problems, then that's when you have to seek professional and medical advice or treatment. But our show, we
Correct.
only offer you like practical and simple ways on that you can apply on your day-to-day existence. And for those people that want more the naturopathic way, like naturalistic approach, and this is why, and or this is how we do it. So yeah, you're exactly right, Dr. Rich. So I'm so glad that
Yes,
we got to talk about hormones, because it's really have been very helpful. And even in my case, I mean, I remember it. I can remember it because before, yeah, we learned about them in school and all that kind of thing, but if you don't apply it and actually incorporate it in your day-to-day or lifestyle, then it doesn't really sink in. But I'm very grateful for your knowledge and everything that you have shared about hormones. Yes, I think, yeah, let's hold the thought again, because I think it's we're gonna go now on our first break. Is that right?
yes. That's our first break. We'll be right back. When we come back, we'll talk some more about that hormones, MJ.
Okay. All right. See you in a bit.
Welcome to Season 4 of Be Bold. Why not? Get ready to make bold changes in your life with MJ Concepcion. Dive deeper into the discussions. Listen to the unstoppable voices of MJ and her guests, the legends and the rising stars. Join the celebration of talent, sports, passion, and the power of music. Tune in every Monday 7 p.m. Central, Tuesday, 8 a.m. Philippines. See you there.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories. From elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits, I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me.
All right, we're back. You know
We're
what, Dr.
back.
Rich? Even though we've talked about these topics already, it still really excites me. I think my good
I think
hormones.
it never gets old.
Yeah,
It never gets old, and we can never have enough of it.
that's right. That's right. Actually, we have a comment from Margarita Trong. Thank you so much for watching, Tita Margarita. She says, "Wow." Yes, thank you. Thank you for watching. Yeah, it's
Thank you
really
very much.
exciting. So, and then we went
Yeah, we'll go to
to
episode 2, or the next episodes that we discussed.
everybody's favorite, right? But the most
Yes.
it's like sugar because people it seems like
Ah,
people cannot live without sugar. That's why
I
diabetes
know. I know.
is the most
It's
common and
difficult.
like
It's
debilitating illness in the whole wide world. People cannot just imagine how complicated your life can become when we are struck with diabetes. But it's
yes.
easier said than done. I know sugar is the culprit, and it's really, I don't know, because I have a brother who's diabetic and I just pray for him. I had my hemoglobin A1C up last year from like it went up to 6.3, Dr. Rich. But with
Oh my.
I know, but with intermittent fasting, and I really rarely eat sugar. I mean, like carbs or rice and all that. But thank God my hemoglobin A1C dropped from 6.3 to 5.5. But then it's up a little bit again, 5.7. So I'm still on the diabetic range. I'm so.
Well, it's kind of difficult to do that, and we know why, right? Right from the very start, we're talking about dopamine. It's all about feel good, and then you have sugar. You feel good when you
Yes.
have sugar,
And
right?
it's
And
addicting.
so that makes that's what makes dopamine addicting, because you'll be looking for it. You
Mhm,
want more of it.
mhm,
And that's what happened with sugar, because once you taste sugar, you'll be looking for it. You want more of it. That's the dopamine in you increasing the longing
mhm,
or the craving for it, right?
mhm.
And if there's no craving for it, you'll find a way to get it. It's addicting. It's more addicting than narcotics,
Yes.
and people don't realize it. And so it's just right there. And narcotics, let's say you have alcohol, well, alcohol, and then you have the Alcoholics Anonymous,
Uh-huh.
right? If you have what else? Do you have other things, right? There are a group of people who go and share the same situation and condition of their addictions together and supporting each other. There is no group for sugar addiction.
I know
It's
there's association of diabetes. No,
they already are there, right? It's kind of difficult, but it's probably
yes.
more addicting
Mhm.
than other narcotics that we are talking about. But it's because it's, you have to make some effort to get to a prohibited drug.
Mhm.
You have to have some kind of way to get it.
Yeah,
Sugar,
it's
you sit
readily
there, you
available.
have it.
It's
It's available.
yes.
Yes, it's available everywhere.
Yes, and
And so
sometimes,
that's what makes it
yeah. Yeah,
difficult.
and Dr. Rich,
Yes.
the thing with sugar cravings is that for some time you have to have a lot of self-control and discipline. And what I've noticed, I mean, personally, myself, I come to a season where I actually can control it. I mean, like, yeah, I don't even want to look at it and all that. But the thing about it, once you get back on it, it's
Yeah,
hard to
yeah.
stop.
It only takes one and a little bit,
Yeah.
and then you're back to square one. It's really important for us and for our viewers, MJ, to really take a note of this. And I talk to a lot of people. They tell me, you keep talking about this, and how am I going to do this? Because it's just like this. It's just rolling. I go back and I drop, and I can't fight this, and I can't win this. I said, cold turkey. You go in
Hmm.
there, boom. It's like
Yeah.
that. It's like you hated it. It's so much, and you don't even want to do it. Well, I did that and then fall back off. It's a lifetime struggle. It's a lifetime continuous, you know, um, overcoming of yourself. And let me tell
Hmm.
you a personal story. I had all of this, right? Obviously, because go through and I can't talk about things that doesn't happen to me and happen to me.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
I have this wonderful, what do you call that thing? Enlightenment. And one day I said, I'm
Hmm.
not going to eat sugar anymore. And I didn't. I just stopped eating sugar. Anything from the pantry, whatever, just throw away. And like that. And there's no sugar. Well, I had cravings. Obviously, I had cravings, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
cravings, when I have cravings for sugar, I punch in carrots,
Uh-huh.
celery, carrot. Now I'm cooking boiled peanuts. So the boiled peanuts that are in the shell, I cook them like you boil them for like 3 hours. Then they get penetrated by a little bit saltiness in it, and then you
Uh-huh.
open it. So it takes time to open it and find that peanut there and chew it, and it takes time. By the time I, you know, I want to eat sugar, my brain already knew I'm eating, and it will stop, get me that
Hmm.
craving because it knows I'm eating. So you have to have that kind of, I don't know, do you call that discipline or
Yes.
determination? But it's that amount of strength from us.
Yeah, and finding a substitute like that. I mean, carrots is healthy, peanut is healthy. So I think it's just trying to find other ways to just like stop that craving. And I think what I've really learned, and it's very interesting that you have shared when we had that kind of topic, is how we can actually lower the glycemic index of
Yes,
these carbs like rice. You have
yes,
shared that when you eat rice like out of the like when it's newly cooked, the
uh-huh.
I mean it's higher, but if you
Very hard,
refrigerate
very
it,
very hard. Yes,
yeah, you refrigerate it and then warm it when you eat it next time, that glycemic index is actually cut in half. I mean, it's
in
very
half.
interesting because that's another way to
It's the
for
same thing
people.
with
Yeah.
bread and pasta. So you have spaghetti, right? You have lasagna,
Hmm.
spaghetti. You cook it, and that's why you get tempted by it because you just cooked it, and it's just
Yeah.
got out from the oven. Put it in the refrigerator. Eat it tomorrow. Then you cut it in half. Your bread, and your bread, you eat the sourdough. The sourdough, which is the sour kind of bread, you can eat that. Or you have this. What do you call that one in the market today? They have the Ezekiel bread. You eat
Oh,
those kinds
yeah.
of bread because their glycemic index is really cut in half already for us. So that's
Hmm.
that's kind of thing. But really what it is that's just trying, right? Because you like rice or you like bread or pasta, and it's there, and why not? And you just want to get some kind of an intervention to make it a little bit lower, and that's really fine, and it helps us. But really what it is because of the availability, very common availability of sugar wherever we go. And so we look at the ingredients, and we see there in we need to know how to read those ingredients in the labels. How much sugar is there? You say total sugar 2 grams, added sugar
Added
9
sugar.
grams. So there's the added sugar. So
Yeah.
go for those ingredients that don't have added sugar. That's the first thing you do, because there are others, they taste the same, they taste better, or they probably are more preferred, but they don't have the added sugar. Or sometimes they say added sugar 0. So there's no
Hmm.
added sugar. Just by that, it cuts it in a lot of percentage from it. Plus, if there is sugar, then you start saying, okay, I don't want something that has sugar in it. For example, you have your soda, right? One bottle of
Mhm.
soda.
Mhm.
That's 117 grams of sugar. That's just one bottle. How many bottles do we drink in one day? Probably two, probably more. And but and then we wonder, why did I have a diabetes? Well, that's sugar. That's a lot. That's enormous amount of sugar ingested in our body. Our body can only tolerate up to 50 grams, 25
Mhm.
when we are really careful, right? And 25 grams means 6 teaspoons. That's a lot. That's 20 is a lot of sugar already for one day, but our body can tolerate that. Let's say you have 12 teaspoons. Our body can tolerate up to that level. You get diabetes, but your body can tolerate that. But what do you think? You have
Yeah.
117 for just one bottle, and you drink two bottles.
Oh, I
Sometimes we want
know.
the 1.5 liter, right? And I used to
Mhm.
do that actually. I drink
1.5
1.5
liters. Oh my
one
god.
drink one time. I don't take a break just one time. So it's really
Mm.
because it's very available. And what it does
Yes.
is the more you do it, the more you crave for it.
Yes, that is why, Dr. Rich, I don't really do soda. I mean, very rare that I would drink, but normally I don't. And I really don't drink juices. I love water, tea. I don't even drink coffee, but I don't have a problem with beverages, like sweet beverages or high sugar
Yeah.
beverages. I don't have. It's like cakes and brownies and pastries,
Is it the
those things,
smell? Is it the
chocolate.
smell or the sound?
I don't know, it's just they taste so good.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
it's
but
very
yeah, it takes a lot of self-control and discipline. And you're right. When you want to stop, just stop cold turkey. Just stop cold turkey. Because if you keep like, oh,
yeah,
like I will
you
do that
you
later,
reduce
or maybe
it,
yes.
slowly one day it's
Hmm.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
The same
today's
thing
my
with
cheat day,
smoking.
I can eat today.
Yeah. The same
Yes.
thing with smoking.
Yes.
They said if
Treat
you
it
are
like a real
planning,
addiction because it
mhm,
is. It is
mhm,
real addiction. So you want to
it
treat
is.
it
It
like
is.
that.
Anyway,
There is no
we
cure.
learned so much during that episode. And I myself learned a lot, Dr. Rich. Yes.
Yeah, me too. It's a constant learning for all of us, and our viewers might think, well, so good, but we're really learning from the things that we're also talking and sharing about. It is because we can never get enough of the things that we talk about. Some nuggets and wisdom from around it, and especially from people who are sharing their testimonies about what they feel and their own stories of their own personal journey that they shared. And there's multiple people that shared to me about their experiences and how they do those things, and they encourage me to even do more, because I know that there are people that we impact about sharing them information for awareness and enlightenment. And that's just sugar, right? And so you saying and I'm saying cold turkey, do it, and then people fail and then they come back up. It's all about determination, and we kind of transition into a topic which we call mindfulness. That's why we are mindful of what we eat, what we cook,
Mhm.
and things like that. And whatever you have the product in your hand, look, be mindful, learn how to read those labels, and if you cannot even pronounce those ingredients, put them away because you can't pronounce them.
Yeah.
I look and I was going for a banana chip, right? Maybe it helps me. There's this plantain banana chip, and there's plantain banana chip, the ingredients: banana, oil, salt, blah 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 blah, blah, put them away. I can't understand them. I can't understand them. And then I look into one of those bags and it says banana and salt, sea salt. That's what I get because I know that's the only ingredients there is, and
Uh-huh.
I understand what they are, right? And so we begin to kind of be mindful about what you are buying, and
Mhm.
you're not saying, okay, today maybe I'll just buy a piece of cake. Like last night, I was in a dinner with some of my uh, family members, and we had this wonderful you know, and dinner, and then comes the dessert. And the dessert, well, I have this chocolate truffle, and I have this something, and I kind of look, and I said, I can't possibly eat that, and I can't, and I didn't, because it's just not, it's not for me, and it's been a while that I'm not doing that. And do you know what will happen to me if I just took one little bite of it? It's all
Oh, you
gonna be
eat
game
it.
over. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And Dr. Rich, especially this season, I mean, this time of the year, that's
Uh-huh.
so hard to do. I mean, truly and honestly, it's like you are going against yourself, like you are at war with your being, because trying to stop yourself to enjoy the pleasures of the season is
Yeah.
a struggle. I mean, it is.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So
But if
so
you
that's
think
why it
of,
has to be
yeah.
mindful. We want to be
Uh-huh.
mindful, and we want to have that self awareness, because really what it boils down to is our amount of self awareness within us. Because if we are not self aware and are able to control
Mhm,
our self awareness, it will control us. That is our
mhm,
paradigm. That is
mhm,
our subconscious mind. Our thought will control us, and say, hey, you did this yesterday. There's that guilt trip. You did that yesterday. You don't really, just go ahead and do that. And then you go ahead and do that because you feel guilty, like, well, I'm not really perfect. I am this, and my parents are this, and it's just one bite, or just a little bit of taste. All those kinds of things are coming from inside of us. It's not coming from outside, it's coming from inside, and it's driving us to do those things that we used to do. Because again, where do we start from this? From the dopamine. We long for that
for
feel good.
good. Yes,
Yeah,
to feel good. And it's like, as you said, you cannot stop yourself because it's like your dopamine is right there. Woo! It's coming,
it's
it's waving
ruling.
itself, it's waving itself, and here I am. You feel good after, and then after that, oh my God. And then you go back
It's
to like,
ruling.
yes, yes. It's so hard. Our bodies just work really sometimes we cannot understand the ways that our bodies, but you're right. It's about also setting our mind of what is good. I mean, do you want to feel good now, like temporarily, like the pleasure, and
Yes.
then later don't
You
think
suffer
about
it
what's
for the
gonna
entire
happen? Yeah,
lifetime.
yeah. So what do you want?
Mhm.
A short and temporary pleasure, or a lifetime of enjoyment
Yes.
and health
Because this is what we
and
say,
wellness?
we can choose,
Mhm.
because we can choose what we want to do or eat now, but we cannot choose the consequences of that.
Yes.
It's like when we're riding a bus and the bus window is open, you can choose to put your arms outside of that bus, but what will happen to your arms outside the bus is not for you to
Mhm.
decide. So we can do that. You can either, I'll just take sugar for now, it doesn't matter, I know it, and it may not, and it may, but you're not in control of what will happen, and usually what will happen as a consequence is not good.
Mhm.
So we might as well, put some sacrifice to that today. And that is why we will look into some of those things that really have help us understand how we are able to control ourselves. But we have another one topic that we need to talk, and that is, what do you think?
Well, I think we have, yeah,
That one.
let's not miss, because this is very, very interesting about oils. Yeah, yes,
Yes,
yes.
oil is very
The
important.
very,
But we will
yeah, I think the very first time I heard about oils was with you. When you presented to the Philippine
oh,
Nurses
is that so?
Association, Metro Houston, when you shared
Oh,
about cooking oils, right? So that was very interesting
yes,
because
yes.
now I am more mindful. I know that I don't have to reuse the oil if I want cancer or if I want to be ill, then yes. But it's like an awakening knowledge from you. So
It is for everyone. It is everyone. It is also for me, an awakening for me. And that is why when I share it with passion, because it enlightens me as well to understand what these things are doing to our body. And with that awareness, then we can then start doing it. It's just like the same thing with sugar. Without being aware that it was sugar, we will never be concerned. We don't care.
Mhm.
We don't look at the sugar. We don't like the sugar content. We just do it because we never care. But when we start caring about it, then we'll become conscious of it. The same thing with oil. You go to
But
fast food and all
yeah.
that, and
Dr. Rich, I know
yes,
you're getting so exciting about sharing oil
ah,
again, but we
yes,
have to go on a short break. And when we come back,
yes,
we're going to talk shortly about oil, and then we're going to delve into also our mindset and all that,
yes,
because this is the
yes.
last segment of the show when we come back.
Last
Yeah,
episode, last
after a
segment.
short
Yes.
break. Yes.
Tune into Legal Treats with attorney Eileen Ligote Dizon.
Every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Get your weekly dose of legal knowledge, especially on family matters like divorce, child custody, child support, estate planning, probate, and immigration.
Engage in discussions by posting your questions, comments, greetings, or shoutouts.
See you every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That would be Saturday at 9 a.m. Philippines. Don't miss out.
Here we are. We're back, Dr.
And we're back.
Rich.
Yes. So we talk about this next very important ingredient that we use in our kitchen
Yes.
is the cooking oil, and it's time for changing that. And I think that I've traveled way too many to share this important passion of mine about understanding the benefits and consequences of incorrectly using cooking oils, because honestly, MJ, there is no good cooking oil.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are bad for our body. It's just because, for example, Asian cooking, it's very difficult for Asian to cook without oil.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can cook with oil, and you just have to choose between what kind of oil you are going to choose, even though we are aware that not one of them is good.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them can be good, but they are still have some kind of a consequences, especially we don't know when the smoke point
Yeah.
of a cooking oil is rich,
Mm-hmm.
right? When the smoke point is rich for that particular cooking oil that you're using, then that oil has turned into
Yeah.
toxin. And toxins in a cooking oil is being very
Okay.
carcinogenic, which means that they could cause cancer, and they are in your food, right? And you say, I'm cooking vegetables, really good for you, but the cooking oil that you use has turned into toxins, and you're ingesting that along with the vegetables that you're eating. So it's very important to know what is the smoke point of that cooking oil. And the other part of that is the balance between omega 6
The
and omega
three.
3.
Yes.
It should be 1 is to 1, or at the most 4 is to 1, which means you have 4 of omega 6 and 1 omega 3. Or the ideal is 1 omega 6 and 1 omega 3. That will be good. But there's no oil that is able to produce that for us in the market, it like readily available in the market, except for macadamia oil and perilla seed oil. Those are the closest that can reach 1 to 1 ratio. And they are very expensive, and they if they are even available.
Mhm.
So, but even then, the 1 is to 1, the omega 6, which is 1, is an unstable one. It has to be mixed with different kinds, and we don't mix in our kitchen, because we know, we just randomly mix it,
Mhm.
right? And we know what the result is. But there is that science called nutritional immunology that does that for us. But for example, we have what would you call the canola oil, that's very common. And we have the canola oil is a genetically modified uh,
Vegetable oil, right? Or
plant
plant oil. Yeah.
from the rapeseed. It was rapeseed. It was genetically modified because of the very high content of erucic
Mhm.
oil, erucic acid, and erucic acid is carcinogenic
Mhm.
right off the bat. So if you have an oil that has erucic acid, like your canola oil, there is already genetically, it's lower, but it's also higher in its smoke point, but there is the erucic acid that's available there, which is carcinogenic. And we need to be mindful of that. So what we do is we go to our fast food, right? Because we'll just buy fried chicken, golden, well done, very nice French fries. What they do is they put some kind of malondialdehyde in that, or the caulking agent, the one that you use in the
Uh-huh.
bathroom. That's what they put in oil so that it will not bubble. So it will not bubble and it will not turn rancid. And then they put what you call as the lighter fluid, just so easy to understand. The lighter fluid in it is the
Uh-huh.
terbutaline that's put in it so that it will not turn rancid. And it says that the federal drug, what's called as
Administration.
drug administration, says that you can have it 0.5%. How do you measure is 0.5%? You keep adding every day, every day, every day. But then until it says, if you look at the label of terbutaline, it says harmful if swallowed. Now, I don't know if you swallow your French fry, but you definitely,
Yeah, you
right?
definitely eat it.
Harm,
Yes. Yeah, Dr. Rich, we have some comments before we continue. And
yes.
I would, yeah, there is a comment here. There's from Evangeline Concepcion. She's my mother in law. Good morning to all. Okay, good morning po. And thank you for watching, Nay.
Wow.
And maligayang Pasko. And then we have another comment. We have another
Yes.
comment from attorney Eileen. What she's on. Actually, it's a question. Another interesting topic and useful information, since there is no oil that is truly safe, what alternatives can we use instead of oil?
Straight answer, none. Use water. You just put that one there. You just put that one there. And if you want to use oil because you can't prevent, because oil is everywhere and you're used to use oil, put it before, put your vegetables or your ingredients there before it reaches its
Point
smoke
point.
points. Sometimes we're trained to watch it, wait for it until you put salt in it,
Or
there's
water,
some
yeah,
water
to
in it,
make sure
and
it's
it splatters, then it's don't wait for that. Just put it olive oil. You don't cook olive oil at all because the smoke point
very
is
low.
very low. You garnish it.
Mhm.
So you cook your vegetable and then put your oil when you finish cooking.
Mhm.
That's what we do. It's kind of difficult because it's radical, but there's no substitute. Otherwise, don't use oil at all. And there is coconut oil. Coconut oil has no omega 6, omega 3, none of those. It's a saturated fat. And saturated fat is the one that increases your level of cholesterol.
Mhm.
So, really, coconut oil is good for something else or other things, but in cooking, you might want to avoid that if you're looking to avoid saturated fats. So really, there is no safe or good cooking oil. But what it is be mindful. Again, there's that word, right? Be mindful of what you're using. So you look at that oil and reach out for what is the smoking point, and don't cook above the smoking point. And then what is the omega 6 and omega 3 ratio? Right now, the most common, which is canola, corn oil, the ratio of the omega 6 and omega 3 is 200
That's
to
wow.
2
Yeah,
or 1. That's
that's
very,
high.
very high from 1 to 1, which means that your arthritis, all those inflammatory disease and autoimmune disease will visit you and probably will
Well,
stay because of the high
ratio.
inflammatory.
Yes, but I
Yes.
have a quick fix, Dr. Rich. Other than,
Yes.
don't
Yes.
use oil. Instead of frying, you better just grill or broil or boil
Steam,
or steam.
grill, bake,
Fake steam.
steam,
Yeah.
grill, bake. And there's a new thing that they air
Yes,
fry.
air
You can
fry.
air fry
Uh-huh.
them.
Uh-huh. You don't need oil to do it. Actually, you take away the
And
oil.
in fact,
Yeah.
MJ, I'm just gonna mention this now. There is we go back. Remember basic, back
Back
to
to
the
the
basic. We
basics.
go back to the basic. Use
Uh-huh.
lard or tallow.
Mm-hmm.
G lard, tallow, butter, not margarine. Margarine is zero, zero, very carcinogenic. No, no. It's butter, tallow. Tallow is from
Mm-hmm.
beef, lard is from
Mm-hmm.
pork. You have that fat and you put that and make it because that's very, very, it's also
Mm-hmm.
flavorful. but it doesn't have the smoke point. It doesn't turn into toxicity and all that, but it has other nutrients in there too. That's another thing I would like to make mention as an alternative. Remember, there is no oil that is good and it's still oil. I'm not saying that is the solution. That's not the solution, but you won't have that alternative because it has other uh, nutrients in there too.
Yes, that's good. So lard, butter, and tallow. Okay.
Hello. And G.
G.
You know those
What's
G?
the G?
G is like margarine.
Oh,
It's like a margarine thing, like it's a G. Look for that GHEE. That's what it is in the
mm-hmm.
market.
Okay,
G.
perfect.
Look for that. This G is like a it's like margarine, but no margarine, please.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, margarine.
Yeah. Now, oh my gosh, Dr. Rich, we didn't have so much time, but we don't want to miss going back to our topic on mindfulness, meditation, as the men
Yes.
thinketh, M- Marcus Aurelius, because these
Yes.
are very practical ways of actually, impacting our day and making a good, like starting our day with on a positive note, just having that mindset without doing anything else. Yeah, we talked about sugar, we talked about dopamine, we talked about oils and all that, but the power of the mind, I want to go back to
It's
that.
what really guiding
Mm-hmm,
us. Because no matter how much you say, I'm not going to eat sugar,
mm-hmm,
if your mind says you eat sugar, you're going to eat sugar. It's the mind that is in
mm-hmm,
control. It's not the outside, it's in the inside. That's why I said it's very difficult to overcome. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult if we don't change the paradigm from the
mm-hmm,
inside. When we say paradigm, it is a collection of habits that is already there and has cemented our practice and the way we do things. That is a paradigm, and it's difficult. In fact, it's not possible to remove them completely. It's still going to be there, but it's subdued once you understand that your mind is the center of divine operation. And knowing that, you know that your mind is in control of sugar, not sugar in control
mm-hmm,
of you. It's in control of your oil, not the oil in control of
mm-hmm,
you. Everything that's outside is controlled by what's in the inside, and the inside is controlling. That's why you have your craving for sugar, because the inside controls that. It's not you, it's the inside of
mm-hmm,
you, which is what we call as the subconscious mind. And it's very important to understand this, especially if we are working on having a journey to succeed in avoiding sugar, for example, or oil, or getting some kind of a wealth, or having $1 million or something. I always use $1 million
Yes,
dollars as
because I
an
know you're a
example, but
millionaire.
anything you want
Yeah,
to
that's
achieve.
good. Share your millions, Dr. Rich.
Right, right. So, but anyway, I use that because it's anything that you want to achieve in your life is coming from the inside. The ones that are the outside is only a reflection of what's in the inside. If you want to change the outside, all you need to do is go into the inside and change it. And how do you change it? There, we are talking now about
Yes,
affirmations,
meditations.
visualizations,
Yes.
meditation. All those kinds of things will change your inner self, which is your subconscious mind. And this is I shared this about the state akin to sleep. That's SATS, SATS, a state akin to sleep. That's when you start meditating. That's when you start visualizing. Because sometimes we visualize, but we go back to our normal things, right? The normal activities of the day, and we forget about what we just
Mm-hmm.
visualize. It should it should play center stage every single time, every single minute. And if that is not possible, there is one way that will make it possible, that will change the inside, and that is do that during the time when you are in the state akin to sleep. You are about to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that you sleep. Or you are, it's also when you are waking up. You're about to wake up before you actually wake up, that time. And it's very important to go and be aware of that time. That's the time to visualize. That's the time to do your affirmations, to do your gratitude, because it shapes your mindset from the inside. And you can then, when you wake up, it's not difficult to avoid sugar because you avoided sugar from the inside. That's really what it is. MJ, what do you think?
And it's again, it's these are things that it's easy to say and share, but the truth of the matter is it's really a challenge. Because I myself,
It is.
I listen to personal growth and development a lot. I listen to podcasts. I love the articles that you are also sharing and emailing Dr. Rich. So I read those. And for some reason, at that moment that you are actually listening and everything, I mean, it's giving you that very empowering effect, like, oh, like your mind is like just going so powerful that yes, I can do this, I can do this. But then it requires again effort, because it's not enough that you just listen to those and that you try to create a very positive mindset, that you try to ward off any negative thoughts or self negative talks, because it's hard. And there are a lot of ways that we can learn to build that and make it like a habit and like a second nature, to wake up just like you said, with that intention that today I'm not going to eat sugar, today I'm going to do my best at work, today nothing will stop me from being a better version of myself. It takes a lot of effort too, because our minds, again, we I'm 53 years old, I have developed habits and thoughts all my life that may not be the most positive things, and for me to overcome that, I mean, it will take a lot of effort. But that's why we're here. That's why we'll listen to this personal growth and development and this
Yeah,
positive
yeah.
mindset. We try to read books on psychology or even like biographies of people who are successful in this field, because yes, we still can change our thoughts. Yes, we can still break the patterns that we have. And yes, we can still say, even when you have that negative thinking sinking in or coming, you still have the power to say, when you recognize it, you know it's there, then you can stop it. That's also one power that our mind can do, which sometimes
Yeah,
yeah, and
with the awareness.
yeah, sometimes people don't live in realities. It's like it's okay to be not okay, because if you don't recognize that you're not okay,
Mhm.
that means you don't want to change your situation, right? And we are just
You're right.
blinded by our, like, our imagination that everything is okay even if it's not. But for us to
Right,
change
right.
that, we have to have our mind set into a positive way, which a lot of times I know it's hard to do, but surely we can do it.
And which brings us to this concluding topic that we're talking about now, which is really what it is as far as having our conscious mind and subconscious mind. Our conscious mind is where is the seat of the thoughts that we have. Whatever we entertain into our subconscious mind, once we put feelings into it, remember
Mhm.
feelings, dopamine, feelings into it, it sinks into the subconscious mind, and there's no more backing up. It's going to produce what is meant to produce. It's not going to be stopped. So it's very important to understand and control what goes into what things you feel good about. Because if these things you feel good about, obviously if it's sugar and it gives you going to give you that result. But if you feel good about feeling good about a health, you imagine a very healthy lifestyle, and you feel good about having a very healthy lifestyle until it goes into your subconscious mind. Because what goes into the subconscious mind is the thought that has feelings on it,
Mhm.
and it produces the result. So eventually it will produce the result. No matter what you do, there you cannot prevent your subconscious mind from producing what it needs to produce because it's already there. You might as well not let it sink there. And what it means is if it sinks there, it sinks there only when you put feelings into it.
Wow, that's very profound. It's like this. It's like a comparison between happiness and joy. Because happiness is influenced by external factors, but joy is there no matter what your situation is, right? Because joy is coming from the inside. So I think it's wow, what a way to end to end the show, right? We are in the
It
spirit, yeah,
expresses it,
we are in
right?
the spirit of joy because of the Christmas season, but joy should always be there. It's not just during this time of the year. And I know it's tough, especially the world is in chaos. We don't have a, how things are going outside of us. It's hard to do it sometimes, but I think that's basically what this is all about. We are here to kind of help you, direct you, guide you to live a healthier and better life. And I've been
Yes.
so privileged to have Dr. Rich in the show. And actually, he's going to be taking off, taking off again for our next
Welcome
season.
back after 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, Dr. Rich.
So it's been a pleasure working with you and sharing these thoughts, MJ, in this platform and the podcast. And to our viewers, thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you back in 2 weeks. We have more interesting topics and we have interesting approaches in how we can share this to you so we can take away from this platform.
Yeah. And
Have a
yes, I
nice,
know. And
memorable
yes,
holiday
and happy
and
holidays
everything.
to everyone. And Dr. Rich, I hope we get to see each other during the holidays. But I know you're going to the
Soon.
Philippines, right?
I'm going to Cebu. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to Cebu. I'll see you there in Cebu, Cebu, and then I'll go to Iloilo
Mhm.
City, and I'm going to Singapore also. I'll see you back there in whatever university, the name of those universities. But I'll see you there during the holidays. Okay.
Wow. Can I come with you? That would be nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah,
All right.
thank you again to all our viewers. Thank you for supporting us for this first season of Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we
Definitely.
wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. See you next year, right, Dr. Rich? See you next year.
Yes. January 11th.
Yes, yes. Okay, when we start.
Bye bye,
All right,
everyone.
good night, everyone. God bless.